Hi, welcome to my kitchen. On June 27th, which is coming up, that's a Sunday, there's an online conference that is free, and I'm going to be one of the speakers. And so I'm going to give you the introduction. Basically, this scenario that I'm going to tell you about is an allegory for what I'm going to teach on. The other thing is there are going to be four other programmed teachers that are going to speak during the day. And again, it's free, it's online, and you can, I'll put a link below and you'll be able to go and get a PDF to follow along with and watch live. There are also four other speakers, and I know almost all these ladies. This is a women's conference. I know almost all of them, and really excited about what God is doing there. The name of the conference is While She Waits. If you are a believer, then you are waiting for the fulfillment of so many things. So that's what the conference is about. If you want to, you can watch it live for free during that day. It is through the Rooted Cafe that's putting this on. They offer archive. They've done, I know that I've participated in several of their conferences before. You'll be able to go and, if you want to, you can join the Rooted Cafe. You'll have access to those other conferences as well as all kinds of different teaching series. There's one on idioms in the Bible. There's one on the alphabet, the Hebrew letters, and what those speak to each week. They do a portion discussion, the scriptural portions for the week. So there's a whole lot of stuff that's available there. If you want to join the Rooted Cafe, I would recommend, if you're planning on doing that, I would recommend that you go ahead and join before the conference, because for this conference, if you're a member of the Rooted Cafe, they send you actually a hard copy, which I don't like that. I did that. I just went, okay. These are my notes that are in your hard copy that you're going to get if you want to go ahead and be a part of the Rooted Cafe, because they send out the notes in hard copy form. There are perks to being a part of the Rooted Cafe over and above the free things that they offer, as you would expect. I hadn't talked to you in a while. I was recently at the beach with my husband, and my husband, he puts up a four-legged canopy that was a cover for us to get under so that he could have shade, because he needs a lot of shade because he burns to a crisp, and also for our grandchildren. So my husband puts up this canopy, and the wind is so fierce on this day that we're at the beach, so powerful that it kept pulling and shaking at the cover. The entire cover was shaking. It was buffeted. It was great resistance. And so the wind is fighting against the canopy, threatening to pull it off of the structure. It's a four-legged structure. As my husband and I, later on, we take a walk down the beach, the wind is blowing so hard that it's battling my forward progression. So as we're moving along, there's several people along the way that have other kinds of canopies and umbrellas. They're getting walloped. The umbrellas are flopping up, turning inside out, and blowing over, or they're just all of a sudden getting filled with a gust of wind and are getting taken down the beach like Catch Me If You Can, right? Suddenly I glance over and I see this canopy. These people are sitting under the shade, chilling. No struggle at all. The canopy is a design that is new to me. So I stopped and I'm gaping at this canopy when I understand how it's working. It was a simple arch, one long flexible pole. Both ends were planted firmly into the sand. It was leaning towards the wind, and there was one cord on the wind side grounding. So it's from the direction of the wind, and it's attached to a sandbag. It formed a flexible tripod, just slightly tilted forward. So it's leaning into the blustery air, but it has its canopy on it. It's just attached. If there was no wind, it would have just draped. It would have just hung flat down. But because of the wind, it was blowing straight above, and the people were just sitting underneath this canopy. It was as tall as the one that my husband and I had, but the canopy was being held up by the wind. It wasn't fighting the wind, it was using the wind. No structure upheld the fabric. Had there been no wind, it would have been a drape. The canvas cover was free to move with the wind, and it used the wind to hold up the fabric. It was being supported by the wind. Brilliant. Brilliant. The goal was shade, you see. The shade was provided, upheld by the wind. All those jostling four-legged square canopies and those one-legged umbrellas flailing around, those structures were fighting against their environment. Smacked about, thrashing, resisting what was. Resisting what was, approaching the wind as adversarial. I later learned that the other canopy was called a shibumi shade. So this shibumi shade thing is structured with this flexible tripod design, and it's positioned so that its would-be adversary was put to good use. It achieved the goal superbly. Everyone else on the beach was combating with the wind. And this canopy, these people were sitting under the shade because their canopy was powered by the very thing that everybody else was fighting. I was awestruck at the spiritual implications of that. That what was clobbering everything else around us, they were relying on it. So that's a picture allegorically that I found on the beach, because that's, I'm always having these conversations in my head with my creator and looking at life, because there's a lot of wind, there's a lot of adversity in life, and there are some people that you just see them struggling and fighting and flailing all the time, and then you see other people that have a peace about them, and you're like, where does that peace come from? So that's what I'm going to talk about at this conference. The title of mine is The Purpose-Driven Weight, which is about structuring our purpose to be empowered by yearning, because the winds around us often are, I would describe them as a yearning for the way things should be. So I hope that you are facing the adversity in your life and the winds in your life with a good, strong structure that is not being shaken and battered and whipped at all the time. My encouragement for you today is to examine your structure and examine the way that you are leaning into the adversaries in your life. Are you allowing them to be used to fuel your purpose, your forward progression, your rest? Or are they beating the snot out of you? So, if you want to join us, you're welcome to. Ladies, if you can't make it to this conference, you definitely want to get your ear to the ground with Rooted Cafe, because these women are providing some fantastic resources for those of us who want to get a little deeper into the Lord so that we can be rooted and have a good structure. I won't be posting until after I get through this conference, because I've got to work on my notes for a while so I can do a good job. Have a good day, and I will talk to you later.